And so we need the veterans to speak out. We need them to be the voices in their community.
But you need someone that loves their country that can't be compromised. And that can only come with someone that has heart. So that's why we need people like you to step up and serve your community, your state, your country in any way possible. So the next interview that I have loaded up here, his name is Vlad Lemets, and he is one of the founders, along with Mr. Messias, for Veterans for Trump, which is now Veterans for America. And once again, these are great examples of people that have stepped up, they've utilized what God gave them, and they've moved forward to change this world. So we will get to Vlad Lemets right now.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Patriot Transition Voice. It's Friday and we're still meeting a lot of Patriots and we're having a great time, great speakers. Right now we have a Patriot that's about to catch a plane, so we want to get him on the show. He is the president of Vets for Trump, which is now what, Vets for America?
Oh, Veterans for America.
Veterans for America. Vlad Lemets.
Yeah, that's me. And you guys could check out what we're about on veteransforamerica.org. Everything is in there. But we are a social welfare nonprofit organization, if you really want to get down to it. We're all about uniting our people across the board, which is veterans and first responders, because we believe we're all in this together. Okay. So our primary objectives is educating the public about issues such as economy, education, voting rights, and of course our civil liberties, right? And then we're taking care of veteran organizations and helping them fundraise, and then we're also taking care of veterans and first responders and their fraternal organizations. We were actually at the border of Texas in McAllen about 3 weeks ago, and we donated over 700 meals to Border Patrol together with Latinos for Trump, which is, right now they're Latinos for America First, former Latinos for Trump. So even though Trump is gone, our mission is moving on. We're just focusing more on our community right now, which is veteran and first responder community.
One of the people we've had on our show is Renee Macias, because her husband's under a gag order. So you both are co-founders together of this nonprofit that you have.
That's correct.
How did you guys meet up and connect?
Okay, so that's a really cool story. How I came to be doing what I'm doing is I started uniting smaller enclaves of the Veterans for Trump organizations, because when Trump announced he was running, there was a lot of us. Mine was actually one of the very first organizations, because after I got out of service, and I was looking who is going for office, right? Mm-hmm. And I looked up, literally who is going to be our next president, and the video with Trump popped up, and I was thinking to myself, man, this is really cool. I mean, what this guy is talking about is a very strong, powerful message. It resonates with our community, so I wonder what everybody's saying about it. And I saw a ton of nasty articles, and that was like 2 weeks right after he announced he was running. There was a ton of really nasty articles about Trump in general, and saying, oh my God, he's racist, he hates Mexicans, and I'm like,
right.
None of that wasn't his speech. And a matter of fact, his speech was so on point. He was the only guy actually telling the truth from my experience, just, listening to politics in general, I'm like, this is one guy who's actually speaks a language that people understand, he says it plainly, and he tells you the truth. So then I called my buddies, and I have a lot of friends that I serve with all over the country, and a lot of them are in Border Patrol. Mm-hmm. So one of the guys that we served together in Iraq, Jim, I call him, and I'm like, hey, so what's happening? What's happening at the border? Is he right? I mean, do we really have drugs and rapists, coming across the border in mass quantities? And he tells me, Vlad, it's actually much worse than this. Okay. We don't just we have people from Middle East, with Arabic accents, like sounding like people that we were fighting in Iraq.
Right.
We're stuck in their civil war, for many years. I mean, I spent close to 3 years now.
Right. ISIS, Hamas, and Hezbollah.
Exactly. So, and our people are not realizing this, but a lot of people coming through the border are from Middle East, and we don't know who they are.
Right.
So, but our guys who work on the border, they know that. So when Trump was talking about the drugs and criminals and the rapists and all of this, he was also talking about, we have people from the Middle East coming, and that's a fact, And because of that, way back when, I realized that, what, if we unite our community behind Trump's message, that will be a very powerful thing. So I went online and I created some of the very first Veterans for Trump and Vets for Trump and Veterans for Donald Trump social media tags on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And then we bought the domain names as well. So we're kind of there, boots on the ground before almost, everybody. And then after Trump didn't go away like everybody was thinking. The
Right.
joke continued. So as that was growing, more and more people flooded online to see if veterans support him, and they landed on our pages. So
Yeah.
this is how we got our start. I'm like, good prediction. I'm glad I did it, right?
Right.
So, and at that point, more new pages started popping up, and my role was largely uniting our people. I decided we could be blue in the face and have 15 different pages saying we're the official organization, or somebody could come about and say, look, it's not about you, it's not about you, it's about the message, it's about us being united as a community. Okay, so that's essentially was my role. I took smaller enclaves and I united them under one banner, in one organization with one branding, with centralized command, decentralized execution, to where we all. And I know it sounds very militant, but it's I promise you, it's not.
Right.
We're not. Militarized organization. We're a group of veterans and first responders who love our country.
And you volunteer.
Exactly.
And you volunteer
Everything
private security, too, at some of the events.
we have. In the beginning, before Trump had Secret Service, we would literally go and that was mostly Josh. Josh
Yeah.
did this. And I'm going to get to how we met with Josh. But Josh would see people on the ground and he'll be like, you're a veteran, because you saw the hats,
Yeah.
and how our people would just have a way about us, right?
Yeah.
And he would pull them out from a crowd and say, hey, before the president is president, okay, he didn't have Secret Service, let's provide secure detail for a future president. And he did that, and he was really good at that. Josh actually opened for the president, and I believe it was in Fayetteville. That was really good. And he was there together with Tony Porter and a lot of, our veterans. The event was Flynn and President, well, obviously before he was president, right? So it was
Candidate Trump.
Yeah, right, at that time. So that was kind of our start, in the beginning. So, but by the time Josh called me, and he called me first, and he called me, I remember that phone call. It was a really funny phone call. He called me and says, hey, so we're the official Veterans for Trump organization. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, right, I just united 5 official Veteran for Trump organizations, right? And he's like, but I'm trying to go online, and everywhere I look, there's this branding and logo, and I cannot, for the life of me, get any page online, like a good name reserved. Could you guys donate, or sell us one of the names? I'm like, no, but we could work together.
Yeah.
Because I already know who you are. Because every time there are any videos of rallies and the events, I see you with that recognizable Navy hat.
Yeah.
Okay, pointing fingers. I'm shaking
Very
hands.
charismatic.
Yes. Well, that's, and I think Josh is in a large portion very misunderstood, but he is an excellent leader and organizer. You stick Josh on the ground anywhere, he'll rally people.
Yeah.
So this is why we get along so well. I'm more on a technical side. I'm more of a one-on-one. I'm a guy who can actually coordinate and make sure that our ventures are happening and we're going forward. Put me in front of a large crowd, I'll be the guy in a corner and be like, no, you guys got this.
Yeah.
We were just yesterday with Latinos for America First at the event in Arizona. Okay, and there was a huge crowd over there. Now our national spokesman was there too.
Thomas Speciale.
Yeah, right. And Bianca gives me the microphone. He's like, hey, speak. And I'm like, no, this is not happening. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to be brief. My name is Vlad Lemets. I'm a U.S. Army combat veteran and one of the, founders of the Vets for Trump organization. We're here to support Latinos for America First. The rest is going to be up to our national spokesman there. Okay, so I'm not big on speaking in front of large crowds. I mean, this is more comfortable because it is kind of like I'm speaking to just like you
Fireside
guys. Yes,
chat.
exactly.
We're just sitting back, two brothers talking.
Exactly. So I mean, this kind of thing I'm comfortable, and I'm really good at this because I build relationships. That's essentially what I do, and I make sure that we follow through on our relationships and we do the right thing, and nobody gets screwed over. So, but that's how I ended up, being the president of our organization, is because I'm a uniter at heart, and it's my responsibility to make sure that we're all in this together and nobody gets left behind or forgotten, like Ohana, right?
Yeah. So we've had Thomas Speciale. We had him on Tuesday night. We've had Renee Macias, Joshua's wife, on twice to tell her husband's story because he's on a gag order and out on $850,000 bail.
Oh my God! Yes. Initially, there was $1 million bail. You know that,
yeah.
right? Yes. So he got railroaded. So here's what happened. As election was ramping up, a lot of our guys said, we want to help see if we can oversee the election, and just like purely in volunteer capacity. Okay, so he gives me a call and he says, "Hey Vlad, they're doing the ballot counting over there, right? So I want to see if we could, bring a couple veterans over there, rally some people like I usually do, and volunteer, and sounds like a cool idea. I guess no problem, right? It didn't dawn on me, at the time. But with the amount of hate mail and threats that Josh and Bose and I have been receiving throughout the years, look, technically we don't really go anywhere without a couple of our guys. I mean, everywhere we go, we have our people, and usually somebody carries. I mean, we gotta watch our backs. I mean, I've gotten a ton of threats. I mean, I had to move once. Because it's getting pretty bad. Especially when people hear my accent, they're like, "Oh my God, you must be that Russian collusion connection." You are the KGB, right? Hillary Clinton's fact check published an article about me early on when we first started Veterans for Trump, right? And they were actually did an interview with me. That was about a meme, something that we posted. Right? So we posted a meme about a football player burning a flag, right? And they took it too seriously. They're like, "Oh no, you're spreading fake information." I'm like, dude, it's a meme. Don't take it too seriously, right? So, but they called me and they did an interview and they were asking me all kind of questions. I'm like, yeah, I'm a U.S. Army combat veteran. I spent close to 3 years of my life in a war zone fighting for this country. So, and then we started these organizations to promote veteran and first responder welfare. Okay, and obviously, our conservative values, because veteran community is predominantly conservative. Okay, so as that was unfolding, they're like, everything's good. Okay, well, we'll publish the article. Once the article was published, they omitted the fact that I'm a veteran or a combat veteran, or an American or anybody altogether. What they have published is that Veterans for Trump spreads fake news.
Right.
And the fake news are perpetuated by this guy who owns multiple Veterans for Trump pages, Vladimir Lemets. So optics of it, they made me out to look like some kind of Russian collusion bot, and that's the kind of like narrative that I'm fighting. This is why I would rather have somebody like Josh who doesn't raise questions, go speak with people, shake the hands, bring them to me for a deal. I know how to make people work together.
And that's where Thomas fits in really well for you guys too.
Absolutely.
Because of the gag order, Joshua can't go out and speak right now.
No, and that's such a shame because look, Josh just wanted to do the right thing. He wanted to go and volunteer.
Yes, just like he does at all the a lot of marches and routes.
And at that time, Josh already was, he's been doing this for so long. He said, hey, I want to spend some time with my family, Vlad. I'm going to step away from the organization for a while. I'm just going to, help around if you guys need me here and there. So he wasn't even acting in any official capacity whatsoever. He just calls me as a friend and he says, Vlad, I'm going to go there, check out what's happening, see if I can volunteer. So he takes his friend, Tony LaMotta, okay, and who's an ambassador. He owns a security company, and he's an incredible artist. He draws really funny stuff. So he goes with Tony over there to see if, and they go with their mother, for Christ's sake, So it was Josh's mom, So, and see if they can volunteer. Talk to guys and be like, hey, can we help oversee the election because, what is happening, right? It didn't dawn on me to ask at the time, didn't see a need. But again, our guys, we usually travel with a couple of our guys, and usually they carry. Tony LaMotta owned a security company. It's a short story of what happened. is he owns a security company. He obviously has his firearms everywhere he goes.
Right.
Josh has a concealed carry.
Yeah.
If he has a concealed carry, why wouldn't he carry, right? So these two guys, they weren't just some two yahoos who wanted to cross the state line and be like, oh, we're just going to go with our guns blazing. No, that's not what happened. That's what media pretended happened. But the fact of the matter is, they checked on Google, and the Google says there is a reciprocity law between Virginia and Pennsylvania. Well, guess what? Okay? The reciprocity law in place is one-sided, and it's one-sided recently. Since 2018, late, the law was changed. Okay?
Mandated.
And right, and it only applies one way. And it's plus it's something to do with local ordinance. I'm not sure of the details of that. But whenever you look up on there, it doesn't say it. It says it applies. So this guy's thinking, oh, well, reciprocity, no problem. And they go. I mean, who in their right mind would come out there guns blazing if you knew that the law is not on your side?
Yeah.
So, and when the cops got there, nobody wanted to arrest him. Nobody wanted to deal with any of this. So the way this happens is I get a phone call from Josh, and he is telling me, hey, Vlad, we might get arrested right now. Where's the police, right? And then the FBI agent calls me, and the FBI agent is with Josh's mom. So apparently, come to find out from them, somebody made an anonymous tip to the FBI that these two veterans are coming there, and they're gonna cause trouble. They're coming with guns. They're coming
Loaded to the barrel.
Right, and they're trying to, start trouble.
Yeah.
I do not know who did it or why, but I'll leave you guys with these two thoughts. Okay. Number one, who is to gain? Number two is why were they so scared? There's two veterans coming.
Yeah. Exactly. And all they wanted to do was get a look at what was happening.
Exactly.
The official
Exactly.
count was happening at the time. Philadelphia had was a sanctuary city, mandated city, and so it's really not a law that they can't carry, but the city had an ordinance, a mandate done by the mayor.
Yeah.
An executive order.
So here's where this gets funny, okay? After speaking with me, the FBI loses their interest quite rapidly. They didn't want to do any more stuff, on Josh. And there's no problem.
Yeah.
I tell them, well, can I speak with him? They're like, well, let me figure out what's happening. They call the local police over there, and come to find out that at that point, Larry Krasner, and God, we need to remove Larry Krasner from office, okay? He's terrible. That's the same guy who lets all the Antifa folks go, okay?
Right.
So Larry Krasner at that point basically has said that, hey, these guys come here, we do not know why. He already did this press release and everybody, but CNN was on the scene, and CNN, said nasty things about him, and then a lot of local and small organizations parroted what they said, and that's essentially what we ended up with.
Yeah. So to help Joshua, go to freemacias.com.
That's
and to find you.
Oh, well, it's not just me. It's all of us.
Yes.
Again, veterans and first responders, we're in this together. Okay. So it's veteransforamericafirst.org.
And then wewhoserved.com.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, one of the things that we do, we provide advocacy and support for veterans who've been railroaded, okay, and for first responders who've been railroaded. Right now we're dealing with several first responders who were, like one of them is an epicenter nurse. You probably know her, Erin Alzewski.
Erin.
Yeah.
Nurse Erin.
So, but that's what we do. We help our people who've been one way or another railroaded. And the most important thing we could do is work together on that. So that's, if you guys need help, if you've been in any of the events and you've been railroaded, reach out to us. Okay?
Vlad Lemets, appreciate you very much. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
God
Thank you for
bless.
your support.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Yep, folks, we colluded with Russia. Totally worth it, though. I love Vlad, man. He was such a good guy, and another great example of people coming over from other countries and just throwing themselves into patriotism when they get here for our country. And I've met a lot of Russians in my life. I've liked everyone that I've ever met. Like I said, they spend so much time trying to create fiction from gender to gender, from ethnicity to ethnicity, from country to country, and ultimately we need to be wise enough to make our decision and judge off the people rather than the being throwing everything into one big giant bowl. And like I said, Vlad was an amazing person. Originally from Russia, came over to the States, fought for our country, was willing to die for our country, which many Americans aren't even willing to do. So I've always had a great respect, a great admiration for veterans in general, because it's not about the pay. These, think about it. What money would you take that would be worth sacrificing your life? It's not. It's not worth it at all. Not even $1 million contract would be worth this. These guys do it for relatively nothing. I mean, our military doesn't get paid great, and they're literally putting their lives on the line to make sure that we have freedom, that we're protected. Sadly, we're watching our military be destroyed by this completely terrible administration, which is removing the oath pretty much. They're not letting people do what they swore, which was to protect both foreign and domestic. And right now, it almost seems like our biggest enemy isn't abroad. I mean, well, other than China. Obviously, China's running everything, but I mean, we're literally fighting our own government, and most people don't even know we're in a war. So, once again, it's amazing that these people are getting out there, because there's so much turmoil, there's so many crazy issues that we're having to deal with, that many people are having to do many different jobs, because there's so much in need, just like these guys, the vets that get railroaded. And by the way, I love when he says railroaded. If anybody else noticed, it's Russian accent the whole time until he says railroaded, and then all of a sudden it's like North Carolina Southern accent. I love it. Whenever somebody has to mimic an American accent, it always seems to be that good old Southern Belle accent. I love it. Like I said, I'd be speaking straight up in a Scottish brogue if it wasn't for the Southern accent that kind of just takes over everything. So, love Vlad. I am sincerely appreciative that he sat down with us for his airplane. He actually gave us a 17-minute interview and had to leave and rush to get on to his flight. So I'm thankful that he took the time out. And it's also great to get to meet people that already know people that you know. So I'm thankful to get this opportunity to, and I hope that I get to meet Josh Macias at some point, and his wife, and the Harrelsons as well. They've been put through hell over the last year, and they're enduring. They're taking everything they get and trying to make the best of it. And I'm thankful for people like Vlad, for the organizations like Veterans for Americans First that are taking the time to help those people that have been railroaded. So thank you, Vlad, for what you're doing, and everybody that's taking the time to do something to help other people. Like I said, I've said it, Steve said it multiple times in the show, that it seems like some of the most patriotic people that we get on our show are people from other countries, because they're coming to a place to gain a life that they really, really want. I'm not saying I don't know what Russia's like in reality, but I'm just saying is they're not wasting the opportunity here. They come here, they make the most of it, and they're fighting to maintain the freedom that many Americans aren't fighting for at this point. And we need to be kind, loving, informative, and help get those other Americans that are sleeping on board. When I talked to Bards of War earlier, one thing that we both discussed and we laughed about, because you got to find humor in this. Everybody thought that that zombie apocalypse was going to be like The Walking Dead, and ultimately we're in the middle of the zombie apocalypse. They're just not a bunch of dead people limping and moaning. It's just indoctrinated people that are so asleep that they have no idea what's going on. So we need to find that cure and wake those zombies up and get them on our side, because it's not a matter of removing the enemies, it's a matter of waking those enemies up and making our army stronger. So thankful to all the people that are taking the steps to do so.